Hi babes, welcome back to another episode of So Alli the podcast with your host, Alli Simpson. It is me again, riding solo today, and I'm sure, as you can probably tell from the title of this episode, today's going to be a little emotional, a little personal, maybe a little reflective, and maybe a bit chaotic, kind of like your 20s. I'm 27, and I feel like at the moment I'm in this weird, beautiful, yet slightly terrifying space of like feeling like a real fucking adult and also feeling like, what the actual fuck am I doing? And am I doing any of this right? This is why I wanted to sit down today and I came up with this topic for this episode called 20 Things I've Learned in My 20s. So I wanted to sit down. I've actually poured myself a glass of Prosecco. I could say cheers. Let's see if this works. Cheers, guys. If you are sitting down watching this, pour yourself a glass and sit down with me because this one's going to be good. And honestly, in my 20s, I have been through it, as I'm sure you have too if you're my age, if you're 27 and watching this and can relate to me in any way. I just feel like this phase of life, when you're in your 20s, it's like the extremes of emotions and the extremes of life. It's like the biggest highs, the biggest lows, the hardest heartbreaks, the career pivots, the identity crisis, the late night panic Googling. If you're anything like me, I'm a professional at that. My late night panic Googling probably consists of questions like, how do I adult? Am I adulting? Or how do I make friends as an adult? How do I stop overthinking everything literally ever? Am I supposed to have a 5-year plan? Do I need to cancel my Netflix subscription so I can afford therapy? I don't know. This is what my Google history probably looks like, or my chat with ChatGPT. I would rather die than have my chat search released. You know, these are like the usual 20s stuff. But I'm 27. I'm nearing 30 and it kind of doesn't really feel real. I swear to God, I think that I have felt 22 for the last 5 years. Like, I'm genuinely convinced I've been stuck in a time warp for the last 5 years. But you know, everyone's timeline looks different and mine is different to a lot of my friends, and that's okay. This definitely isn't some perfect list of advice or a how-to guide for life. It's just a bit of a love letter to myself, I would say. It's kind of like a love letter to my growth, to all the times that I genuinely thought I was falling apart and my whole life was falling apart when really I was just becoming more myself. Because right now I am absolutely embracing my 20s and all the experiences and things that I go through to shape me into the woman that I am today. Finally sort of in a place where I feel quite content with myself and the woman that I've become. I shouldn't just say content, I should say proud. I feel super, super proud, and I've never felt more me. I think that's something to be proud of, and that is why I've written this episode today, just to help you guys or to help anyone else listening navigating their 20s, because it's not easy. Don't get me wrong, I'm still going through it. I haven't got the shit figured out. I'm almost 30 and I feel like I should have it figured out by now, but I really, really don't. And these are also a bunch of daily practices. Like, I'm still working on these lessons every day. So yeah, let's see how we go. I hope these things resonate with you guys in any way or help you, because if one of them relates to you or all 20 of them relates to you, I'll be happy. So in true So Alli fashion, let's keep it raw, lighthearted, funny, but most definitely real. I think if we start with 10 and then do the next 10 next week, then I'm not going to feel like your fucking uni lecturer. I don't want you guys drowning in my voice. So I thought I could split it into 2. So let's get into my first 10 things that I have learnt in my 20s. Number 1 is definitely one of my favorites. So number 1 is stop caring what people think, because no one cares as much as you think. And I don't know if any of you are the same, but I used to be the kind of person that would walk into a room, and if there was someone looking at me, I would think, what's wrong? Have I got something on my face? Do they not like my hair? Do they not like me? Why are they staring? And you always think of the worst. And that was what I used to do. I used to think if someone was looking at me, I would make it negative in my brain. And I don't know why we do this as humans, because that table of people could very easily be looking at me thinking, oh, wow, I like her dress, or she looks great, or, you know, I've got a big smile on my face, you know, anything like that. So it's interesting that us as humans always jump to the negative. Like, why are they looking? They must be looking at me for negative reasons, when literally, and what I've learned over time and majority of the time, they're looking at you for positive reasons. So whenever I get in my own head, and all these times that I go out with friends or I'm out on my own, I've always been proved different. Like, for instance, I went out to a bar with some friends, it was like 2 weeks ago, and I walked in and there was a table of girls like in the back of the bar. And when I walked in, I saw them all sort of like looking at me and kind of whispering and things like that. And in my own head, I jumped and like got anxious and like socially weird. And I'm like, what are they looking at? And I went to the bathroom probably an hour later. Like, I sat down with my friends and they were of the other side of the restaurant. And I went to the bathroom and then I was washing my hands, and the girls, there was 3 of them in the bathroom, and they came up to me. They like came out of the cubicles and like were washing their hands too. And they all came up to me and they said, we just wanted to tell you how much we loved your suit, and you look incredible in a suit and you're rocking it and you own the room. And I was just like, what? I was like, babe, oh my God, like I totally thought you were like looking at me for all the wrong reasons and I was overthinking it. And they're like, no, like genuinely, we just love your suit. Where'd you get it? You're beautiful. And I was like, wow, it just shows what the human brain does in those circumstances, which is just bloody wild. And I know I totally just got off track there, and that's not really like, don't worry about what people think, but it's more of like having that mentality when you walk into a room, like don't assume the worst, because it's usually good. It's one of those things too, like if you overthink an encounter you have with someone, I know we all do it, like you lay awake at night and you either were speaking to a guy or a girl and you're like, why did I say that? Did I say that wrong? Did I look weird? Did it come out wrong? I guarantee you that the person that you're talking to is probably also so worried about themselves and what they're saying and what they're doing that they are not noticing your awkward encounter. Or if you felt it was awkward, they're not worrying about you. And I swear to you, they're not thinking about what you did, because they're probably overthinking what they did, if you know what I mean. So it's a very like weird, like cycle we're all in, because we're all in our own heads. But if we just start to walk into rooms and embrace who we are and meet new people and let our guards fall away and our insecurities fall away, then we'll all be our best self. I always think most people are too caught up in their own insecurities to be paying any attention to yours. This is something that I thought about when I was writing this episode. Honestly, most people are just scrolling, not scrutinizing, they're not judging you. So post the thing, wear the damn outfits, start the project. If it's your passion and it's what you love, fucking do it, because most people like forget about half the shit they see online anyway. So if it makes you happy, do it. On to the next lesson, number 2. You and your friends will change, and that is okay. I swear to God, I had so many more friends at the beginning of my 20s. Like I was the major social butterfly. I had my feet in every friend group. I was friends with everyone, and that was amazing at the time. But now that I'm 27, it's interesting because I feel like I could probably only count my closest circle on one hand. And with time and age, you come to realize that that is a good thing, not a bad thing. So what I've learned is that not all friendships are meant to last a lifetime, but that doesn't make them any less meaningful, because I've had friends that were perfect for that time in my life that I'm no longer friends with anymore, and it's like, I said it in one of my last podcasts that, people come into your life for a reason, season, or a lifetime. And I have been through many friends, and that, it's really upset me about some friends that I've lost over the years. And is there a fly flying around me? Sorry, I hate bugs. But I genuinely think that different humans and people can serve you at different times in your life. The friends you had at 20 may not fit the version of you at 27. And I've slowly learned that that's not betrayal and it's not loss. It's just evolution. Like it's just growth. I've also learned that adult friendships take serious effort, because everyone's got their life going on. At my age, there's people getting married, having babies, changing jobs. And it's like, it's a very serious time in your life because you're setting up your foundation to move forward. So working on friendships is something that you really have to make an effort with. But I'm definitely more of a quality over quantity type girl when it comes to friends now, because that kind of weird feeling that not weird, but that sort of eerie kind of feeling that you get if your best friend moves cities or gets married or has babies or just changes a little. You realize that, when you stay in contact, you realize that friendship isn't just about like the daily texts and the daily FaceTimes. It's really just all about mutual respect and love, even if it's from afar. because I have friends that are in different cities or across the country or across the globe. And then you may not talk for a month or two at a time. And when you come back together, it's like nothing changes. So for me, I treasure those friendships so much because to me, that feels really real. And I've also learned that some friendships sort of fade quietly and not dramatically all at once. Like maybe something didn't happen between you guys, but it just is a slow sort of drift. And that kind of does hurt over time. But you've also got to remind yourself that that is just part of growing up. And if you have those real friends and that handful of real friends, like the real ones grow with you. And circling back to the lesson, it's you and your friends will change, and that is okay. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do for someone is let them change and let yourself change too. Let's move on to lesson number 3. This one is so important and something that I've only been practicing more so later in life. But saying no. Saying no is one of the most powerful things you can do. You can be a good person and still say no. So this is something that I've definitely had to practice later in my 20s because I feel like I've always been a bit of a people pleaser. I will put myself out there and put myself on the line to make sure that someone that I'm talking to, a friend, a relationship, or family, I will always make sure that they aren't the ones that end up hurt. Like I never want anyone to be sad or get hurt. I'm the kind of person that literally cries if I see someone start crying. So for me, I would always put others first, you know, if I had to say yes to things, even if that meant I was the one getting hurt. So I had some thoughts on this one, and these are kind of like some mantras that I have been practicing lately. Saying no doesn't make you difficult, it makes you honest. You can't set yourself on fire to keep everyone else warm. Remember, every yes costs you something, so make sure it's worth the price. You also have to remember that no is not just a word, it's a full sentence. No, period. It's a full sentence, and you have to remind yourself that it is okay to say no. It is okay to put yourself first. Because in my late 20s, learning to say no has changed my peace. It's like it's protected it in many ways. So you don't owe anyone an explanation, an apology, or a long essay about why you're saying no. Just say no. I have definitely felt very rewarded lately at times that I've said no to things that the old Alli would have said yes to, things that didn't serve me, things that I didn't want to do just to make others happy. And honestly, the benefits of doing it is amazing. So I am highly encouraging this lesson. I think for me, at first, saying no felt super uncomfortable and it made me feel kind of icky. And I'm like, what am I doing? But I think eventually it starts to feel like freedom. Like I feel so much more free if I'm like sitting at home and, you know, a group of people want me to go out on a Saturday night and I feel shitty and I'm in my sweatpants and I don't want to do anything and I just want to sit at home and watch Netflix and cry and have a wine, then do that. Like literally do that. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. So it's super liberating when you're at home and you're like, God, I feel really good. I've made the right decision. I think my 20s have definitely taught me that the word no really is just like adult code for I do not have the emotional bandwidth for this. Like not happening. On to lesson number 4. Loving yourself is hard, but it is the most rewarding thing you can do for yourself and everyone around you. This one hits so hard because it has taken me literally years and years and years to start loving myself, to even begin to start loving myself. And right now I actually feel like I'm in a place where I really am starting to, and that's a really awesome feeling. But God, it's taken so long, and I think it comes with age, and I probably will feel better even when I move into my 30s. So that's something that I am very much looking forward to. Loving yourself isn't just like a flip of a switch. It's hard and it is a daily practice. You have to work on it like every single day. So I wrote down a few quotes about this one. This is really nice. How you love yourself is how you teach others to love you, which is so true because in many relationships that I've had, I didn't love myself at all. And that didn't serve the relationship at all. I don't think you can move into a healthy, happy relationship without fully accepting who you are and fully loving yourself, because how is that person supposed to love you if you don't love yourself? And I promise you it doesn't work. If you don't love yourself, the relationship will fail. So it is simple. How you love yourself is how you teach others to love you. So when we start talking about self-love, and working on self-love. Self-love isn't just bubble baths and face masks and a glass of wine and affirmations and blah, blah, blah. I think it's more about like accountability and grace. I think some really strong forms of self-love is forgiving yourself for some choices that you made when you didn't know better. I beat myself up all the time over choices I've made and decisions I've made and things I've done. But that negative self-talk isn't going to get you anywhere. So I think the best form of self-love is forgiving yourself for doing things that you might regret or doing things that you wish you could change or saying things or situations that you may have handled in a way that you didn't really love. Really finding peace within yourself and practicing intense self-love is forgiving yourself for those points. And I think loving yourself isn't just about feeling good. It's about showing up for yourself when you don't feel good. Like you have to show up for yourself when you don't feel good, recognize that, and start to work on the things that make you happy. I think in my eyes now, self-love is really just being kind to yourself and choosing yourself again and again and accepting the parts of you that you might not always like. To sum up number 4, and something that I tell myself daily now, is that you deserve the love you keep giving away. Because I love so hard and I give so much love to everybody else, but I also deserve the kind of love I give away. So if I'm giving that to other people, I've got to give it to myself. That's number 4, babes. Moving on. I will say, luckily, I'm only doing 10 in this episode, because if I was doing 20, you'd be like, Ali, shut up. Get out of my head and don't tell me what to do. Number 5. I like this one. Hard choices, easy life. Easy choices, hard life. If you're wondering what I'm referring to, it is health and wellness. It is major that you start looking after yourself now. I definitely left that in the dust in my early 20s, and I do feel like I'm making up for lost time now. But on this one, when I say hard choices, easy life, and easy choices, hard life, choosing to work hard and to exercise and eat healthy and wake up early and stay disciplined is going to make your life easier in the long run, even though they might be the more difficult decisions to make right now. Because choosing comfort now and maybe being lazy or avoiding effort means paying the price later. What I've learned is that discipline really is just self-respect in action, babes. Future you is either going to thank you massively, or future you is going to be sending you a fat fucking invoice. So if you make the right decisions now and put a good routine into practice, it won't come back to bite you in the ass at like mid-30s, because my early 20s are coming back to bite me in my 27-year-old ass. What I think is that easy choices feel good in the moment, but they bite back later, like skipping the gym again or dating the red flag just because you're bored. Guilty. Or something as simple as avoiding the awkward conversation because you just don't want to have it. I've been there, done that with all of these things. I'm telling you right now, the hard choices pay off more in the long run. Ready for lesson number 6? Let's get into it. Confidence is built by doing more. And this is definitely one that it's taken me years and years and years and years to learn. But I read this online the other day and I saved it. But confidence is built by making more decisions. It's a paradox. People often avoid making decisions because they lack confidence. But it's actually the act of making decisions that builds confidence. The more you choose, even when uncertain, the more you trust yourself to handle the outcome. Confidence comes from action, not from waiting for the perfect moment. And let me tell you, like, this one for me is crazy because I have been in the entertainment industry for about 10 years now. But when I first started, I'll tell you a little bit of a story. So I know a lot of you that follow me know that I have some songs out, but that took me so long to work up the confidence to even do that, to even try, because I love singing and I feel like I'm kind of okay at it, but I love singing like in my own company, in my house, in my shower, when literally no one is around. When it comes to actually singing in front of people, I shut down. Like my whole body cramps up, my throat closes in. I'm like, I can't sing. I don't know. For some reason, I just can't sing in front of people. I feel like I can do anything else in front of people but sing. So it took me a lot of time and confidence to even get in the studio the first time I recorded my first single, which was called Why I'm Single. And I so badly didn't want to do it. Cody, my brother, he was so kind and patient with me. And he said, Al, he's like, I know you can sing and you can sing. But all we have to do is go to the studio. No one has to be there. It can just be me and the producer, which it was. I was like, no one else can be in the room. It's like lock yourself in the closet and just sing. And what's the worst that can happen? If it sucks, you don't have to release it at all. Doesn't matter. So I went in and recorded Why I'm Single, and God, it took all of me. I think I was 15 years old, and it was the hardest and scariest thing I'd ever done in my whole life. But I went in there and I felt so amazing after it was done and after the song was recorded, and I loved the way it sounded and I felt so accomplished. And then for me, singing after that had to be a constant practice. The more I did it, the better I felt. The more I did it, the more confident I felt. And then there'd be another single, and then I'd get in the studio and write another one. And then I would have to go in and sing in front of more people, and the studio gets bigger and there's more people watching you, and you just have to keep putting yourself out of your comfort zone to build the confidence. And I definitely found the more I did that, the better and the easier it got. And that's still me now. Like with this podcast, it took me a long time to actually say, okay, yep, I'm going to do this. Let's pull the trigger on the podcast. I've had so much experience in radio and podcasting and being on a mic, but the courage that I had to work up to actually start my own, and I'm doing all of this on my own, like producing, editing, writing. It's fun and I'm loving it and it's great. And I feel super accomplished because I've stepped outside of my comfort zone and I've made this show happen. Each week I get more confidence. So that comes back to the lesson, is that confidence is built by doing more, because confidence isn't something that you're just born with. I feel like it's kind of like a muscle that you have to train. Like going to the gym. Like you got to do sit-ups for abs. You got to do squats for a good butt. You got to do 1,000 podcasts for one to even sound good. So yeah, basically you build your confidence by doing the reps. And let me tell you guys, the most confident people aren't the ones that never mess up. They're the ones that keep going after they do. So you've got to remember that and keep that in your head. Keep going after you mess up. And that's where the confidence is born. And that's where the confidence will stick. Number 6. Damn, we are getting through this. We're about to move to number 7. Oh, see, number 7. I actually found this one online from a creator called @JoshGoovy. I think that's how you say it. Shout out. I'll link him. I was scrolling through my reels and this Josh was doing a mini series on his reels about 20 things he's learned in his 20s, which was just perfect because I think my Instagram algorithm was just on my side that day. I was like, this whole reel of his has to be one whole lesson. So I'm basically just going to read to you what he said in his reel because I just absolutely loved it and I got chills. So the title of the lesson was, discomfort is a lot cheaper than regret. Whether it's that plane ticket, whether it's trying that thing you want to do but you're worried about what other people are going to think about you. We've spoken about this. Whether it's that one embarrassing moment that you're so worried about, trust me, you're not going to remember all of those things. You're not going to be worried about the $1,000 you lost 10 years from now. You're just going to be mad that you never tried. So I've said it a million times and I'll say it again. Just get out and do the damn thing. And that's what he said in his reel. And I fucking loved it. Like, fuck yeah, Josh. I'm like, that is lesson number 7. Discomfort is cheaper than regret. Never forget it. Number 8. Moving on to number 8. I feel like all of these lessons flow into each other really nicely because they all sort of go hand in hand. But my next one is, this is the time to take your dreams seriously. Dreams require sacrifice. You know what they always say, dreams don't work unless you do. So this is definitely one that I've really put into action more recently and something that I wish I did more in my early 20s, putting my dreams into action, because I feel like your 20s are the time you really start building your future and building your life and building that foundation for your future. The 20s to 30s is like foundation decade. And honestly, it's okay to feel behind. It's okay to feel lonely and lost. I definitely have felt it. I still feel it. I'm still working through it. You can probably hear some dogs in the background squishing a ball. Calvin, drop the ball. Oh no, now he thinks I'm going to throw the ball. Working towards your dreams, honestly, isn't always glamorous. Most of the time, it's actually not. It might look like, skipping the girls' brunch or skipping the night out or working until 2, 3 a.m. just to get shit done on your passion project, which has been me actually in the last 6 months with this podcast. But, it's paying off and I love it. I think one of the hardest parts about chasing your dream or your passion project is that no one claps first. You have to be your biggest hype man and your only hype man and your biggest fan. So that's what I've done and focused on, even when no one's watching. If you don't take your dream seriously, no one else will. And why should they? That's that lesson. We're getting through it, guys. Thanks for sticking with me. I hope you're not too bored yet because next week we're going to have another 10 of these. But number 9, don't compare yourself to others. The only person you should compare yourself to is the person you were yesterday. One of my favorite quotes of all time from Theodore Roosevelt is comparison is the thief of joy. So I think we all know that social media is the main culprit of this. Social media is the main reason why we compare ourselves to others, because everyone has their lives on display right in front of you. And it's not just, well, actually, it's probably never the bad parts of their lives. It is the highlight reel. And that is what we see and that is what we believe. So we compare ourselves to others. And it's so bad. Like, it is just getting literally out of control. I highly recommend taking social media breaks. I have to every now and then because it just gets too much. There has totally been times that I've worked myself up into a negative talk downward spiral for absolutely no reason. And I end up finding out that I had nothing to worry about. There was absolutely nothing to stress about. And I realized all that later, and you work yourself up for absolutely no reason. So you have to stop comparing yourselves to other people, because you are you. And that is your superpower. And just remember, your wins don't have to look like everyone else's to matter. Celebrate every little win, every single little win, because it's your life and it's your story and it's unique to you. Comparing yourself to someone else is like comparing a leftover slice of pizza to like a 5-course Michelin how many Michelin stars do you get? Michelin star meal. They both have value, but just different. Does that make any sense? Let's move on to the next and final lesson of part 1 of 20 things I've learned in my 20s. We are at number 10. Relationships are mirrors, and not just of the other person, of you too. This is a huge lesson I've learned in my 20s. And I swear I've learned this one over and over and over again. And there are so many relationships I've been in, bad ones, good ones, all the above, that I have changed. I've been a completely different person. I've learned, I've changed, I've blamed. And now I am so different, and that's just what you have to reflect on. When you're in a bad and negative relationship, it's so easy and tempting to just like blame the other person and make out that it's all their fault. But I think upon self-reflection, that often reveals the mirror. Upon self-reflection is when you realize that, you know, it takes two to tango. You both were probably very heightened and very different in that relationship, and that's just the way life goes. Hi, Calvin. If you're watching the video, you can see the dog come in. I believe that every relationship teaches you something about yourself, even the messy ones, even the shitty ones. Hi. Whoa. Do you want to say something? He's licking the microphone. Oh, he wants to play ball. Yep, you're pissed at me, aren't you? And something that I truly believe in, the people you attract are a reflection of who you are. You love them or you learn from them. Recognizing your own growth over time changes the way you relate to others. At least that has been the case for me. So remember, relationships are mirrors of you too, not just the other person. Wasn't that a bit of a mic drop to end on? Okay, wow. I am exhausted. I feel like I've talked myself into a complete dopamine trough, but I hope I've talked you guys into a dopamine high and given you some new tips and tricks that maybe you can put into action for your everyday life. I'm still practicing all these lessons as well, but these are just some things I've learned along the way. Navigating your 20s is a absolute shit show, and it is hard, but we will get through it together one step at a time. That is what So Alli is here for. So that is a wrap for today's episode of So Alli. I hope you found something in there that made you laugh, cry, or just nod and say, yeah, me too. So next Thursday, we'll have plenty more laughs, lessons, and shit to talk about. Maybe a few cringeworthy stories also coming next Thursday in those lessons. But to wrap it up, I just want to say, if you like what you heard, send it to a friend. If you think that this video and this podcast can help anyone that's in their mid-20s, early 20s, late 20s that needs to hear these things, or you think it would just help, send it to them, share it, and follow all my podcast pages at So Alli Podcast on Instagram. And you can listen to this podcast wherever you get your podcasts, which you guys know because you've made it through this episode. I'm an idiot. So thank you for spending some time with me on this episode of So Alli and spending a little bit of your day or night with me. But just remember, your 20s are messy, beautiful, confusing, but the best thing about them is that they are entirely yours and your timeline is your own. Let's keep figuring it out together, babes. Until next time on So Alli. Bye. Woo woo.